Hello, good morning. Welcome to JoyNews Desk. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlimli. We're on DTT because we're free to work. Coming up this morning, Ghana Police Service accused of abusing the Public Order Act and undermining citizens' right to protest after 49 protesters were arrested yesterday by the police. Two more victims battle for their lives as security is reinforced in Posiga town of the Upper East region following a tragic attack on commercial vehicles by unknown armed gunmen that resulted in the death of 9 persons and several others injured. Police say investigations are underway to apprehend the perpetrators. Plus, former Auditor General Daniel Domelevo suggests the setting up of an independent prosecutorial body to prosecute corruption cases instead of leaving it in the hands of the Attorney General, who he alleges is a member of government and unable to prosecute his own. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlimli. Please stay for details. The Ghana Police Service has been widely criticized for abusing the Public Order Act and undermining citizens' right to protest. 49 members of the group of Democracy Hub were detained Thursday for unlawful assembly and violation of the Public Order Act for participating in the Occupy Jilobi House protest. The police claimed the organizers ignored an injunction application served on their lawyers. We will hear from some lawyers on this, but first here is what transpired yesterday.
It's at stake. Look at the way the country is being run.
Two men, Oswald and Tichi, were speaking to me in an interview when they were arrested on camera by police and bundled into a waiting vehicle.
Solidarity of the in the NDC or for the NPP. We are here to cry in solidarity of the ordinary Ghanaian. Today, Ghanaian children, parents can no longer feed their children.
Well, so you see what is happening right now. So police officers now, they're maintaining the protest, arresting some of the protesters who came here and said they were going to protest despite police preventing them. Now you can see police officers here.
Is that what they signed up for? They are suffering. And
you can see that. Some of them preventing us from even speaking to the protesters who have been arrested. Hi, sir. Fruits, come. Fruits, come. Let's say we should join them. Hi, sir. Can we talk to you? Fruits, come.
Go down.
Come, fruits, come.
Go down.
He's a media man.
Come.
Drive. He cannot join the car.
Okay, you let me
Wait. All right. Okay, thank you.
Police officers are taking this gentleman away who said they were going to demonstrate and protest, despite what, the Ghana Police Service had done earlier.
Fix the country. We say fix yourself.
Another woman who wants to be identified, Olia Sarah, says times are hard. She's now unable to feed her 3 children.
Because Ghana is hard. Ghana is very hard. I can't be buying kenke for 5 cedis. What I was buying 1 cedi. Ghana is, cost of living is terrible. Taking care of them is terrible. So that's one part.
Is it their school fees or what exactly?
Their living, cost of living, their feeding, transportation, everything is times 5. It's terrible. My salary cannot take care of them.
Akuf-Addo was say or minor, were destroy or minor.
Another protester says he joined because of Ghana's high import duties. His friend says he wanted to protest against what he describes as high-level corruption.
In fact, the people who have committed crimes are the ones with the billions of dollars in their rooms, millions of Ghana cedis in their rooms, and the people, the numerous scandals and the stealing and TV. Those are the people they have to go and arrest. These citizens have not committed anything, and for that matter, we are calling for their release. I have this thing, like Ghanaians are so timid. We are just sitting down. One person is destroying the whole country, and nobody seems not.
Who is destroying the country?
Akuf-Addo is destroying the country. You are
president.
You You don't know. You don't know that Akuf-Addo is destroying the country.
You are telling me.
I'm not telling you. You are part of. You are a Ghanaian. I'm telling you that Akuf-Addo is destroying the country, and you know, yeah. Akuf-Addo as a person is destroying the country. During Mohammed's time, people were hitting on the street, rough up, demonstrating. But under Akuf-Addo, the moment you speak up, you are arrested. The moment you open your mouth, you are arrested. Meanwhile, these people are stealing. They are stealing. They are destroying the country, and nobody wants to speak. When you speak, you are arrested. What kind of democracy are you practicing?
Journalist Bridget Otu says she wants to be identified as a protester, a citizen, not a spectator.
Some protesters who were demanding the release of their colleagues were whisked into the compound of the Accra Regional Police Headquarters. Some of them were manhandled by men in mufti. Journalist Bridget Otu, who says she wants to be identified as a protester, says she is a citizen, not a spectator. She says she witnessed all that happened.
Police officers, in that famously plagiarized speech by the President of the Republic, Akuf-Addo, he talked about us being citizens and not spectators. It was inspirational for all of us to get involved. As a journalist, I have reported on this for so long, but you know what? I'm equally affected. My business is affected. I'm struggling to pay people. So when young people say they want to protest because of what they are going through, leaving this country because they don't have opportunities, the least I could do was just to show up. So I drove, I wasn't even in Accra, I drove all the way from the central region to Accra just to witness, only to get here and be told that they have been dispersed, taken to various police stations. And so I came to the Greater Accra Regional Command, and when I came, a parent who was in agony of her son missing because the son had been picked up by police and taken in there, Kevin Boachi. And I will not stop saying his name because the Ghana Police Service have a penchant for committing crimes and getting away with it. So they should let that boy out. So we just stood at the gates and I asked, apart from that, I have a reporter in there I wanted to get to. And the police just charged us, a man in there who cannot see through these, there are no holes here for him to see, just comes to the gates and charges and started pulling the men amongst us. The police have stolen even a phone from a protester. Ghana police have stolen a phone.
They took the phone from...
No, they have stolen it. The person was not used, they stole it, right? They attacked the person, and I remember whilst they were pulling me along. And I was wondering what I was doing because I can't fight any police officer. They will beat me and get away with it, and that's okay. They do that all the time. 8 people died in the election, they've not done anything about it, and that's okay. So I didn't want to be killed. At least I wanted to live to tell my story.
So that's what transpired yesterday. In fact, all 49 have been released by the police on bail. James Aveji has been speaking with some of them. Listen.
For a new generation that grants for people economic justice. That's what we are going to be doing here. So as you have seen, I've carried and I've brought on several materials which are intended to help with teaching, the teaching aids that we're going to be using. That's what the protest is about. That is an opportunity to also educate people on their rights in a democracy. Some of this job the NCC is supposed to be doing. One Akuf-Addo, who was one of the loudest voices and critics of the government, was always on the streets, now heads that institution and have made useless out of it. The continuous politicization of institutions that are supposed to uplift us is what we are deploring. So we were taking upon that charge ourselves, and we're going to be doing the work.
How were you handled yesterday?
Well, beyond the arrest and the violent nature of the arrest, the slaps and other things, the one I am taking particular offense is that all of us were taken to the Greater Accra Regional Command, put into a room, and 17 individuals, plainclothes individuals, who were wearing all kinds of earrings, who had dyed their hair in all kinds of different manners. Others dressed in shorts, in boxer shorts, were thrown into the room and locked on us, and they proceeded to beat us. I do not understand how these individuals who were calling themselves intelligence officers were brought in to beat us. That has to be explained to me. So all the PR and all the crying before committees of parliament, that PR that sustained the police service, we must break that PR down. And for me, this is one of the things I have to say. The Ghana Police Service is less than 40,000 men across board. And these 40,000 people go to training. We train them at public expense. If we cannot ensure discipline with 40,000 people, we have failed the entire country. That is where leadership must be shown at. And this is what we are asking for.
You said earlier on, you said Kennedy Dapaah said, over his dead body, would you be allowed to protest in the country?
Yes, Ken Dapaah, who is Minister of National Security, has made it clear to me that over his dead body, we're going to be allowed to protest. And it's not surprising to me that a few months later, I was charged and I'm being tried for treason. I think that this government has every intention, and they mean their words, that they are going to depress and going to make sure that they make an example out of me. But we're going to continue to fight. And whatever they want to do, they can continue to do it. But we must show up. Because when abuse of power is loudest, citizens must speak up even more. That's why we are here.
And the went as far as offering you $1 million to back down.
They went as far as offering us $1 million. They offered us a committee, to set up a committee and appoint us to government positions in order to stop this activism. This was made directly to me and other leaders of Fix the Country. This will be refused. Now, this conversation was had at the time with the National Minister of National Security, the Minister of Finance, and a Brigadier General of the Ghana Armed Forces at the Safe House at Cantonment. These are information that are verifiable. We recorded that conversation. If people recall,
do you say those are the people who are making the offer?
The people who made the offer on that day. If people will recall, when I came out of jail, I had made an announcement that I was going to disclose the details of the secret meeting that had taken place and some of the things that were said to us. And later I had received several calls from people in this country and refused to disclose those. This information is not something I'm lying about. I can release to you information and calls that the Minister of National Security himself called me while I was in the UK, inviting me to come down to Ghana and at public expense. And I rejected it and paid for my own ticket and flew down to Ghana. And so for me, I know and I've always known that, and there's nothing that I'm saying here that will surprise anybody or shock anybody, that we know that they have taken every kind of attempt through monetary compulsions, through violence in order to stop what we are doing. But we'll continue to build. And we are demanding that if citizens really cherish this democracy and are interested in the future of this country, then they'll show up and stare down power.
Would you say? And I'm interested in the treatment you have described. Does that suggest that you are taking the Ghana Police Service on?
Well, for us, we are showing up today. To remind everybody, when I was first arrested at the airport, I was tortured by individuals who were wearing armed forces fatigue and thrown and blindfolded and taken out of Accra. We sued the Ghana Police Service and Attorney General and the Tema High Court. The individual judge before whom we sued, that Ankoma, has been promoted to the Court of Appeal. That case has not gone anywhere for over a year. In their response to the application we filed, the Ghana Police Service admitted planting an individual who was furnished with a phone, a knife, and bread in the cells. These are all public record. The Fourth Estate has reported on this. Nothing has happened there. So again, I understand that so many of
it should not happen in any type of democracy. But I think these things happen just to inform other people of the depths of the problems that we are having right now. Peaceful demonstrations have no place, they have a right to demonstrate, and no policeman, no authority has a right to disrupt that. So once that has happened, I think that it's going to give more incentive to people to actually come out and voice their concerns about the bad nature of things, and then hopefully we can go from there.
What exactly do you expect to change in this country?
It's deplorable, but I think we have to start with a rewiring of our thinking. I think there's a big disconnect between where we are and where we want to be. I think that it starts mentally, starts in our minds. And it starts with us gathering together to express these concerns so that we can become of common mind and a common vision, a common objective. And I think once we have that rewiring, we'll be able to all move solidly in one direction.
As a musician, I know that beyond the streets, beyond coming to the street today, are there plans to carry this forward through your music? We know you've done quite a number of stuff on issues like this. Are there plans to carry this forward through music?
Yes, I pride myself in being one of those musicians who has actually voiced a lot of concern about, the state of affairs in our country. I've done Kwame Nkrumah, I've done State of the Nation address, and my fans know. But apart from that, I think that we have to graduate it to the next level. That's why I'm here today. I have so much material out there preaching about what I think about, the industry, about our economy and the government. I have so much material, but there's only so much you can do with music. We have to be here to make sure that we take it to the next level.
Our constitutional lawyer Martin Kpebu says the conduct of the police undermines the human rights of citizens and shows that Ghana is descending into a police state.
What was the basis for the arrest? People you sought to prevent from demonstrating at the Jubilee House. If you could gather 500 policemen to come and cause arrest, why wouldn't you provide security for them to demonstrate there? You see, the main point is that, once the police say, they claim they've taken the case to court, then if they lie within their mass to do a preemptive strike. No, the matter you are talking about is before the court. You say you filed an application for injunction. So there is also an obligation on the police not to do anything to render the proceedings a nullity. So that's why the remedy would have been that, look, if they flout the application for injunction, right? That's the school I belong to. They call it ex parte Mofat, and there are other cases that support it. There are other people in practice. When it's a big government project, like you see the E-level one, they ignored it and went ahead. And we all know that usually the court will be slow to interfere. So when it's a big public matter, usually that principle doesn't appear to work in practice. But in this one, if there was evidence, you would say that it's likely a court would punish for contempt if you were served. So the police had to gather their evidence and then file an application for contempt, but not to arrest. That subsequent barefaced lie or wrong law that you're doing on lawful assembly is wrong. That unlawful assembly can't apply in this case. Could you why? Look at the Public Order Act. That was what both parties were using. And the procedure is stated there. You say they should amend their location, the venue, etc. If they don't, the next thing under Section 1 of the Public Order Act, it says go to court. So if you've gone to court and somebody appears to be violating it, then you go and apply for contempt. So naturally, although there's also the other side of law and order. So if they were to do anything that was untoward, causing damage to property or begin to commit any offense, then that one you would arrest and say, look, you are damaging property, you are doing X, Y, Z. But this one, like they themselves admit, it's like they've just led themselves to the slaughter, preemptive strike. In which democracy, Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana, the police have goofed. They've goofed. If President Akuf-Addo had led honestly, if he had riddled himself with corruption, he himself on his own table, that fumigation contract, between him and Just One Group, Zoom line over 500 million Ghana cedis. If he hadn't done that, if he hadn't swerved Ejako, the former energy minister, and then took him out of the loop and asked Gabi to negotiate a marriage deal, that one that brought them a big embarrassment, the one they inflated the contract and then they were caught. If he hadn't done so, all these things wouldn't have happened.
Private legal practitioner Kofi Bentel, speaking also on the morning show, says protesters have every right to go back to the Jubilee House to continue with their protest.
The right to protest is such a fundamental right that it is not anybody's business to talk about what places is security and what place is not, as long as it is a public space. And I think there should be a different approach to that. And I'm speaking as somebody who is aware that if you go to places like the White House or whatever it is, you don't go and protest in front of their gate. So I can understand that the seat of government or the Jubilee House, they will take a security zone. But my view is that the citizen owns that space. So operationally, and I don't mean to advise the police, if you think it's a security zone and the person says, I'm going to demonstrate there, and it's a public space which it is, then you go and put your men there, let them sit there, so that both of you will occupy that space. Okay? And then people don't commit a crime, because if you commit a crime, that's a different matter. But there should be no space that is public, that is out of bounds to a citizen who owns that space. We need to understand this thing about, the rights of a citizen, what it means to be a citizen, inalienable rights, constitutions and constitutionality. We need to understand these things. People should not just think that, we have a right to give you this or not to give you this. These are God-given rights. Nobody is a Ghanaian more than anybody. And the rights of the citizen are above the rights of an office holder, including the president and including the IG. So, it is a security zone, yes, but if it is a public, if it is my house, if it is a public, if a private space, if it is your house, you can exclude your perimeter from me coming there to do a demonstration. Okay, but I can stand on the street. If I am disturbing in your house, you can take action against me. But if it is public space, you can't tell me it's a security zone. Then go and occupy that space. I will occupy whatever other space is left. And as long as I don't commit a crime, you should leave me. To that extent, therefore, it should be possible for people to sit in front of the Jubilee House in protest because it's public space, as long as they don't commit a crime.
Let's go live now through the 37 Lorry station and speak with my colleague James Aveji, who's been engaging the protesters. Aveji, what's new from where you are?
Aisha, so I would say that from the last we spoke, the police have now moved the protesters from the pavement right in front of the 37 station down to the median of the road. They are now situated between the station and the Catholic Church right across the road. And so we are now in the median of the road here, where a public address system has been set up in a Kia truck ready to start blaring. Earlier when we came here, the police followed up to engage with the driver of the Kia truck. What they were trying to inquire why the PA system has been brought here, had an engagement with the driver as well as Oliver Bakavoma. The media had not been led into that engagement. And later when we had an interaction with Oliver, he told us that the police were not comfortable with the public address system that had been brought here. And so they actually decided to engage with the driver, asking him to move the truck as well as the public address system from here. That's what Oliver tells us from what transpired between them and the police. We can see the numbers growing bit by bit. They are now in their tents waiting for signal from the organizers. Just arriving is Bernard Mona. He's also just arrived here. Some few celebrities have also been coming through. We spoke earlier with Calvin Boy, who is also here, and some other comedians. Let me attempt to speak with Mr. Bernard Mona on why he's here. Mr. Mona, thank you for your time. I thought you would be with Justice for Ghana at the Electoral Commission headquarters.
Yes, but they are not mutually exclusive. These are actions that afflict each one of us. And so I have been doing a series of media engagement. As you can see, I'm not costumed for the protest. And so when I leave here, we are to have a meeting with the IGP upon what happened yesterday.
Say you, which group?
That is Democracy Hub, led by Bakavomawo. They yesterday were arrested unjustly. And so later in the evening, the Inspector General of Police called. And he actually called me. And I told him that despite that, I am not an organizer of the Democracy Hub. I sympathize with the cause. I agree in toto with whatever they are doing. I was to join them later in the day because in the morning I had spoken to Akuf-Addo to even alert him about the police presence around the Jubilee House and around the 37 station. And whilst they were coming here, I was at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, only to be told that they were arrested. So I went looking for them in their various cells, and eventually I got to know where each one of them was put. Later in the evening, when the Inspector General of Police called, he said that he was going to instruct for the release of all those people. And indeed, in the evening, everyone was released. This morning, they are gathered here. It is the IGP's call that he wanted to meet with some of the organizers. So they will select a few to go and meet with the IGP. And then we'll see what the IGP himself has, because his men did what was untoward yesterday. We cannot tolerate such happenings from our police service. Look, it's a police service and not a force. So when they decide to use force against innocent citizens, standing here, what disruptions have this crowd occasioned? They have not done anything. Yesterday, your own colleagues were brutalized. And you ask yourself, what is it? If the police doesn't have the logistics to protect the crowd, but they have logistics to disrupt the crowd and to arrest them, how much they spent yesterday engaging in that exercise is unacceptable. And I think that, well, once the IGP has called, there is a saying in our local parlance that you don't reject a call, but you can reject the content of the call. So I think that it's fair and proper that we have that discussion, and then we can take it up. But citizens' right cannot, and we will not allow any oppressor to undermine our democratic efforts.
Just a few minutes ago, before you arrived, we engaged with Oliver, and he is of the view that he's got no engagement with the police. And I mean, I'm just interested if you've been able to reach a consensus with him, and he agrees that you should go ahead to meet the IGP.
Oh no, yesterday I was one of the people who had to go around to ensure that all those our comrades who were incarcerated were unjustly were released. And so I think if Oliver cannot go, that is a right. But some ones of them should let us go and listen to the call.
When is the meeting happening?
Oh, anytime that we are able to arrive at the number of people that we can go. So I've spoken to Oliver. He is not opposed to people representing him, but I think that he wants to be here to continue to be the fulcrum around which this mobilization can take place, and I cannot take that from him.
Are you going as a group of protesters, or you are going as conveners?
Well, it will be partly conveners, because there must be a convener, and then they will come back. Whatever the outcome, we will let the society know.
And so you are hopeful that today, are you just going to be stationed here, or you are hopeful to to go on a procession to the Jubilee House?
Even staying here alone is sufficient to send the message. You are here, isn't it? The fact that you are here and you are carrying the report of the unhappiness of citizens about the shoddy things that are happening in Ghana. Journalists, your own colleagues were beaten yesterday. The police are denying it. Right? Bridget Otu, they torn her cloth. Somebody had to give the Ghana flag that he was carrying to order to protect her body from exposure. One of your colleagues from CTFM working with BBC was assaulted mercilessly. A lawyer who had come and seek the release of clients was pushed into cells. This is not what we bargained for. This is not what we bargained for. Akuf-Addo is only president of Ghana today. Akuf-Addo will go. But this country of us, we will be living here with Akuf-Addo and his children. Right? When Akuf-Addo ceases to be president, we, the young people, will live with Akuf-Addo's children. I can assure you, as I said somewhere, any policeman that brutalizes citizens today, we will identify your children and your family, we will brutalize them tomorrow.
I'm not sure if the brutalization will be lawful, but what do you say to what
lawful brutalization?
And the law would require you to take a civil position on that to go.
Police did not act lawfully. You don't expect us to act lawfully.
That would be against the law.
Which law? The law that the police have violated? Because the police says that there's no law by their action. So should we think that there's law, we also assume that there's no law. I come from a school of thought that says that forgiveness is a sin.
And so you would not want to go on the tangent.
Away from the Jubilee House, Pusigas District Security Council has intensified security in the area following a deadly attack on traders by unidentified gunmen along the Plumacombe Highway in the Upper East region. The unfortunate incident claimed 9 lives and injured several others. The motive behind the attack is unknown. However, Abdullahi Zubair, the DCE for Pusiga, has stated the situation is under control and investigations have been initiated to apprehend the culprits. Upper East Region correspondent Albert Sorry joins me via Zoom with some updates. Albert, first, what's the latest on this incident with regards to police investigations?
Yes, so at the moment, the police say they are still investigating. They can't give us more information because of the fact that they are not done with their investigation. One thing we can report is that as at yesterday, after we reported that 9 people had died, this morning our sources within the police have told us that the number is actually 10. A number of people are still in hospital receiving treatment. We are trying to confirm the number of injured people who are in hospital at the moment. For now, they haven't also been able to make any arrests. From what the police are telling us, they are still following up on leads to do the investigations and possibly arrest some culprits. But at the moment, nobody has been arrested yet.
Albert, how are the injured faring? Do you know?
Well, it's been a bit difficult to get access to them. What I was, the person that I had access to was the driver of the vehicle. Unfortunately, because of language barrier, because I don't understand the language he speaks. So it's been difficult to communicate with him. I'm trying to see if I can get a translator to help us with a bit of information. But what I'm just receiving right now as I speak to you is that actually the number of people who are in hospital now are 12 people, and they are having various degrees of injury. We do not know whether some of them are unconscious or not, but the number is 12. They are all receiving treatment for various injuries that they received. In fact, some of them, we are told, are traumatized by what happened yesterday evening. And so, yesterday morning, sorry. And so that is the information that we have. There's a little bit more of information coming in here and there. But normally, because of the fact that the police keep telling us they are doing investigations, some of the things we cannot independently verify. So we wait for the police to give us more information. We are hearing that there could be some arrests later today. But again, the difficulty normally is that when incidents of Boko happen, the police try to manage the information as much as possible because of fears of reprisal. So that is the difficulty that we have.
Have you heard from the regional minister?
Not at the moment. We've placed a few calls to him. It appears he's busy, so he has not been able to answer our calls. We are hoping that later today we may be able to speak to him to give us more information. But again, it's always because of the fact that for some reason, security reasons, if you like, they try to manage how much information that goes out. So, for instance, we're trying to possibly even know the identity of the people who were in that attack. They tell us that they will only let their families know because of fears of reprisals. Once you make the names of the people who are injured public, it could lead to some reprisals and even some trauma on some people. So because of that, they manage the information and they don't give out much. But at the moment, 12 people are still in hospital receiving treatment.
Albert Sorry is our correspondent in the Upper East region. We'll definitely bring you more on this in our subsequent bulletins as and when we get it. Now, former Auditor General Daniel Yao Domelevo has suggested that setting up of an independent prosecutorial body to prosecute corruption cases instead of leaving it in the hands of Attorney General, who he alleges is a member of government and is unable to prosecute his own. Addressing an anti-corruption forum held at the forecourt of the Asogli Palace in conjunction with this year's Asogli Yam Festival and the 20th anniversary celebration of the Agbogbo Mefia Togbe Apede, Mr. Domelevo stated that there is a dire need to amend the law to give truly independent persons and bodies the authority to investigate.
That corruption plays in our society. Just go to our hospitals and you will see the poor level of service delivery and the low bed syndrome. My younger sister died 2 years ago because Kolebu could not find a bed for her for 5 days. And finally she has to die. That is the extent to which corruption is eating us as a people. And we are looking on. Let's fight. We are not angry enough. At independence, Ghana was started as ahead of Singapore and Malaysia, etc. Go there and now and see. You will regret it as a Ghanaian. This Bismarck performance are celebrated by our shameless leaders. They want us to hail them for this mediocre performance. I don't think we can accept this. And want the leadership of this country. That if you push us to the wall, you see the animal in us.
Staying with the former Auditor General, he describes corruption as the deadliest disease that has ever visited Ghana. Dr. Domelevo made the comment during the Anti-Corruption Day celebration held in Ho.
It is now, if you are a friend of the government, then you can do anything. And you can be sure that you will get away with it. But if we do that, then no one is safe, isn't it? Because once I'm taking my enemy to, my enemies are also taking me to the place. So we all have to be careful. So I call for commercialization of the fight against corruption. We should amend the law just as we were able to amend Article 88 to get OSP out of it. The same way we should also do and get individuals the authority to be able to, maybe they may go through some recognition like licensing or registration, and they can set up a committee or a team or a firm that will investigate corruption, so that immediately the Auditor General comes out with his report, they start going through, and then they list their candidates, investigate, and then go and collect the money. They will make something for themselves. However, a greater portion comes back to the states.
NDC vice presidential candidate for the 2020 presidential elections, Professor Nana Opoku-Agyemang, is dispelling rumors that former President John Mahama may be in search of a new party stalwart to partner him to run for the next general elections. Former Chief of Staff Julius Deborah and current Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Sam Jonah, are among those rumored on social media in recent times to partner the NDC presidential candidate John Mahama for the next elections. However, speaking on the sidelines of the Maiden Nkrumah Mandela Leadership Conference organized at the Great Hall of the University of Ghana, Professor Nana Opoku-Agyemang described the latest jostling as wasteful and unnecessary.
Well, Prof, President Akuf-Addo is on record to have said that he admits we have economic challenges. However, he's of the opinion that Ghanaians would have to do a soul searching and to choose a leader who would inform the way forward.
Is it true?
Which the president has
Okay, I hear. I see.
Given the comments that the president has made, are you certain that we'll find, a transformational leader going into the future?
I'll say that we've had an Nkrumah. We've had leaders in our communities. We've had leaders in our homes. We have leaders in the market. What's our excuse? Are we now going to search, for somebody with a third eye? We know what it takes. We know those who sacrificed. We know those who gave of themselves. We know those who gave without looking for reward. Who is stopping us from emulating them? You see, in life, I don't think it's about, in 1 year I get everything. It doesn't work like that. You'll be frustrated, or you may do things that you'll be embarrassed if they were to come in public. Okay, because it doesn't work like that. Okay, it's one step at a time.
Prof, we are looking at two great leaders, Nkrumah and Mandela, at this leadership conference. John Dramani Mahama is being likened to our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Do you feel that he possesses that kind of leadership quality?
It's not about that kind of comparison. What I respect about him is that he has a good heart. He cares. Otherwise, you see, for how long was he here? How many schools did he build? You answer me. How many hospitals? We have had the polytechnics forever. Do you know what it took to turn it into a technical university? Building 2 universities. I'm talking only of my sector. Building 2 harbors, building a new airport. Why don't you have the same now?
Ghana, as we know, is in search for a new leader. Going into the 2024 elections, are you available to serve as the running mate to John Dramani Mahama going into the 2024 elections?
I was in the ministry and I complimented his efforts. Or I wasn't. Where? So are you posing that question?
We all know the controversies out there. Well, there's a lot of controversies out there about it.
Oh, forget about this. Use this unhelpful. What controversy? There's no controversy. The only controversy we need to talk about is the unemployment of our youth.
But
that is the controversy that should bother us. We are just having distractions. It's about all the scandals going on. Why is that not controversial? And you are worried about what controversy? It's just a distraction. We'll see when I get there.
Should we expect a new...
Chairman of the Bono East Regional Peace Council, Reverend Prince Owusu-Aseko, has been mourned the rising number of political and chieftaincy conflicts recorded across the region. The chairman was speaking at a stakeholders meeting in Techiman as part of activities to mark this year's International Day of Peace. Said the council is embarking on a rigorous education campaign to help minimize the menace ahead of the 2024 elections.
To commemorate the 2023 International Day of Peace, members of the Bono East Regional Peace Council, together with key stakeholders, met in Techiman to share ideas on promoting dialogue, understanding and cooperation amongst people, as well as ways to reduce violence across the area. Chairman of the Regional Peace Council, Reverend Prince Owusu-Aseko, bemoaned the rising number of conflicts within the Bono East region.
Our part, all the conflicts that were in court, like I said earlier, there are 2 conflicts. Majority were from this part. So after carving, and now others are even adding to the previous ones. Though some traditional areas are trying to solve these, but still, there are others showing up.
He was, however, quick to note that chieftaincy and political conflicts stand tall in the region, and steps need to be taken to help address this.
In the Bono East region, 2 stands tall: chieftaincy and politics. Most of our conflicts in the region is chieftaincy and political. So we are praying that we will be aided financially so that we can go about drumming home the need and essence of peace.
Margaret Mary is a member of the Regional Peace Council representing the academia. She wants more attention to be given to women in peace building as they play a significant role in maintaining peace.
As women, I would say that we are custodians of peace. When there's peace, we have all the freedom to take care of our homes, our children, and our husbands. So our role in maintaining peace is to make sure that we educate our children. The children at home, they get closer to the women than their husbands or their fathers. So we as women should make sure we sit down with our children, provide their needs, and educate them as to what to do, so they don't get out and be influenced by their peers. Our husbands also go out to work and then come back. As a woman, when your husband comes back, you have to make sure that you do your work. Even if he came back with tension, the way you receive him at home, that will make sure that he has that peace and he can go back to do his work well.
Representative of the Al-Sunnah sector on the Regional Peace Council, Sheikh Murtada Mohammed, on his part, attributed ignorance and unemployment as the major cause of conflict amongst the youth and charged policymakers to work towards addressing this to help promote peace within the area.
In our communities, some of the issues that are maybe recipes for chaos and violence are ignorance and then unemployment. Yes, so for the youth, because of ignorance, normally whatever they are told, they believe in whatever they are told, instead of going further to research into it or to find other sources of getting information other than what they have got. So I think it is important the government and then stakeholders in our society try as much as possible not to use the youth into their advantages, but they should try as much as possible to use the youth in a way that will bring socio-economic development to their community.
Reverend Owusu Asiku further noted that the council is embarking on a rigorous education campaign to help prevent the repeat of the 2020 shooting incident in the Techiman South constituency that claimed 2 lives and left many others injured.
We need to go down, educate on air, in the nooks and crannies, for people to understand the need. Election is about, we're about to have the 9th election. It's about decision making. And it's also a process, not an event. So we need to exercise all the patience.
Anna Sabit, JoyNews, Techiman.
We'll take a break on JoyNews. That's when we'll return. This business. Please stay.
Hello, good morning. This is the business segment on JoyNews Desk with me, Pius Kujobaka. Only 5 banks scored above the threshold of 98% in relation to customer satisfaction. This is captured in the latest Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana's Customer Satisfaction Index report for 2022. More in this report.
Republic Bank, Absa Bank, and First Atlantic Bank followed with 97.8, 97.5, and 96.2 respectively. CBG Bank, Zenith Bank, GCB Bank, Bank of Africa, and SG Bank had the least score by customers. Overall customer satisfaction for remote banking was 88%.
The index for this year went out by 3 points. For 2021, we are an index of 95. For 2022, the index went up by 3%, which is 98. However, for 2021, only 2 banks met the threshold. For this year, we've seen an improvement where 5 banks met the threshold, although the index went out by 98, went up by 3 digits, which is 98%.
President for the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana, Dr. Daniel Kasati, called for a more robust financial sector through customer satisfaction.
Consumers of this report, particularly the banks, must learn how to put the results to be announced tonight to good and prudent use. They should first look beyond the positions on the various tables to identify how they fared for each of the 5 dimensions of service quality, overall customer satisfaction, and either of the 2 dimensions of customer loyalty. They should indeed juxtapose their performance in each area to the customer's indication of how important that particular dimension was or is to them.
Chief Executive Officer for the Ghana Association of Banks, John Ewa, urged members to be heavy on improving customer service.
Of course, the environmentals also play a role in this surveys. So we take the positives out of it and also learn from the areas where we had more or less a message of room for improvement. As an industry, we take customer satisfaction very seriously. So I'm sure our member banks will take their version of the report, go to their various banking infrastructure and digest the outcome and see the areas where improvement is needed and even where they did well to see how they can even improve it much better in the years ahead.
Total customer loyalty measure for 2022 was 81%. For Joy Business, James Ishen.
The first phase of the Volta Green City project has been launched in the Central Town district of the Volta region. The project, named the Volta Green City, will provide decent accommodation and recreational centers to the residents and beyond, while also improving the economic activities of the area. Ivy Setoji has the rest of the story.
In a welcome address, the chief of Mafi Amfor, Tobitra Abutaka, noted that development in the communities helps improve their lives positively, hence the urgent need for every community to have the needed development they rightly deserve.
This development must be about people and places in peaceful and comfortable environments.
He noted that the community in Mafi Amfor has lots of land for the establishment of modern settlements like the proposed Volta Green City and industries to create jobs for the teeming youths.
May I therefore welcome you all to Mafi Amfor. The environment is calm, the air is fresh, the people in the area are united and lovely. We have expanse of land for the establishment of modern settlements such as Volta Green City and industries to create jobs for the teeming youth.
The CEO of the project, Ni Okai Pabe, noted that the project will bring affordable housing units for the people, a complete community on its own with modern facilities and commercial enterprises that has everything.
This community, we call it Volta Green City, will feature, among other things, a free zone, a wide variety of home builders, home styles, and options at all price points. It will also have its own commercial enterprises, such as stores, restaurants, and schools, all creating a vibrant and dynamic environment.
Thomas Moore Achu Zonra is the DCE for Central Town.
An investor is coming to this district to do no other business than to build a city, Volta Green City. This is the first of its kind in my district. And, I'm happy to say that myself and my MP are together in this fight. All stakeholders in this district that can say, Jack, let this thing happen, are here. So that is to show to all of us here that the project, by its name, Volta Green City, is giving green light to start.
And that's it for business. I am Pius Kojo Baka.